If you've played Clash Royale at all, you probably have a deck that you hate with a burning passion. For some it's 2.6, for others it's E-Golem, but the most hated deck is Classic Log Bait. How do I know that, you may ask? Well, I said so that means it's true. Bait is arguably the least skilled archetype in the game, but if you don't know how to play it, then you could have a hard time playing it. In this video, I'll teach you how to play bait. I split this into 5 chapters, which will be in the description, but I recommend watching all of it. But with that, let's get started. Now time for your deck. Bait decks are typically around 2.6 to 3.5 elixir, around there. Bait decks usually have a squishy win condition like Goblin Barrel or Skeleton Barrel, and other cards to bait out spells. Look at this log bait deck. It has wall breakers, which requires an immediate response, which is usually log. Bait also has a mini tank, a building, a cycle card, depending on which deck you're running, a small spell and big spell. Okay, you got your deck? Now all you want to do is press this button here, then press this delete button and replace your deck with one of these 2 decks. Okay, that's obviously an over-exaggeration. You can do well with any bait deck, but this one is better and this one will always be good. For this one, you can always replace log for Ice Spirit. Now that we have our decks, let's get into what bait actually is. This section won't be as long as the one in my cycle video, which if you haven't already seen already, check it out. It'll be in the description. Bait revolves around baiting out your opponent's spells for your win condition to get damage on a tower. How do I do that? Well, I'll explain more in the attacking section. Say you're going for your Princess of the Bridge and your opponent logs, then you can go in for your win condition because they don't have a good counter to it. But if your opponent has 2 small spells, give up. Defense isn't as complex in bait as it is in cycle, but it does use some of the same principles. Building in the middle and use your swarms to protect it against bigger things, and one or the other for smaller things. Also, don't be afraid to overcommit a little because your win condition is so cheap. Depending on what deck you're running, attacking could be important or not important. If you're running Classic Log Bait, for example, number 1, I hate you, and number 2, you can spell cycle to win. But what's your attack gonna look like if you can't spell cycle? Well, you want to bait out a small spell like arrows or logs using your swarm and princesses. After that, going for your win condition. If you cannot bait out the spells, just play your princesses at the bridge and chip them away. Finally, we have general tips. Now, for the most important tip I can give bait players is don't play bait like cycle. You shouldn't be trying to out-cycle your opponent's counters, because then you have no elixir for your opponent's counter purse. If you have evil barrel, then fake barrel the tower you aren't going for, but play something to tank for it. If your opponent logs the real barrel, you take the other tower. If they log the fake barrel, then you whittle down the tower you were working on. Also, if you have barrel, then try to fake out your opponent. If you play your barrel here, then your opponent will miss the log when they go for it normally. So if you do this in the normal barrel randomly, then you'll eventually get damage. This was my bait guide. It's pretty short. Bait isn't really that complex, and I hope you learned how to play bait better. Personally, I wouldn't play bait, but I would play cycle, one of the other deck archetypes. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.